Hey everybody, owner here of the Lumbar Loft, and thanks for checking out my channel. If you're new here, subscribe. And today, I just want to talk about this last past year and tell everybody that we bought a house during the pandemic, and that was a time where a lot of people were unsure about everything. They were unsure about their lives. They were unsure about the future of their jobs, and some people realized they hated their jobs and they didn't want to work there anymore. Well, it really wasn't my case. It was more so the ball was already rolling. I mean, these processes are not overnight, they take a long time. I have been in the home buying process for about 6 years. And, when I say that, meaning that, first of all, I had to do my research on credit. It took about a year and a half. Then once I figured that out, I started saving, building my savings, and that took about a year and a half. And then I started reaching out to banks and working on pre-approvals. And I did Rocket Mortgage, and I got a pre-approval for a very low amount, and I just couldn't find anything. And so I, kept worked with a credit bureau to help get my credit even higher. And then I applied again for pre-approval, and that was about a year and a half. So it was really a lot of increments, a year and a half working towards it. But the time that I bought the house was crazy. I mean, we're talking about financial stability, and people at the grocery store literally looking like this, right? Looking like bag on, some sort of filter tap to their face, kitchen gloves, plastic bag on their body. Just it was a nightmare. There was stay at home orders, everything for except child custody exchanges, groceries, prescriptions, essential supplies, carry out and drive through, and an exercise. Right, and with buying a home, and of course needing to do work on that home, the essential supplies and Home Depot was open. So it made it very, very simple to work through that pandemic. I mean, people were looking just like this at every community and everywhere, not knowing what to do, and just trying to figure it out. And that's what we did. We figured it out. We figured out that the process, and then once I figured felt like I got to pre-approval, which was a whole process on itself. I had to get the actual closing, and found out that closing takes, it takes longer than 30 days. It can take as little as 30 days, but it take longer. But just really understanding the microscope that these lenders pull out to before they approve you, and it was a long process, but I stuck with it. I didn't give up, and I was able to get approval for the house and ultimately own the house. And so, w- what were some of the things that I look for in the area? Of course, location is big, and I found a good location downtown. The other one was, what is the condition it is in? Because I was a first time home owner in a sense, and so I really wanted to make sure I understood there was things, if something went wrong, I could do it. There was stuff there that I could do, and I had to figure that out. And I'm pretty handy with the paint. I'm pretty handy with pretty much anything else. I just have to, pretty much watch the YouTube videos and work it through now. And I know you're probably saying like, oh no, you get what you pay for. But listen, when you're independent, you carry your own records. I had to make do with what I had, which was, I did have some resources. Don't want to make it sound like I didn't have any resources. I had some resources as far as purchasing the home and them covering the closing costs, and being able to buy paint and paintbrushes. And one thing I was just totally blown away by was the cost of goods. Now, there is different levels. Like, everybody has heard of the French imported marble and the restored, reclaimed, wood or brick from a castle in Ireland. Like, there's tons and tons and tons of cost, hurdles that you can really dig into. But let me assure you, we did not dig into any of that. We took the budget route, and one thing we did was not find the cheapest option, but the most affordable option. So we did look at different types of paint. We ended up going with paint primers, or in some areas, just a regular flat white paint. Uh, Whatever carpet did not need to be pulled up, we left down just to get started. And then we did do some staining. There was some open wood in the apartment that we looked to do, so we did some staining. And just really stain the railings and then try to match. I mean, that's the main thing. I've been in places and seen houses that are mismatched, but when it comes to the interior decorating design, I definitely think that it's important to find your style, and have a theme going in there. I found out about Pinterest. I mean, I knew about Pinterest, but I want to say, as a guy, Pinterest is not high on my list of sites that I frequent. So I really, but in this process, I needed to find a lot of examples, color palettes, and things like that. So the best thing was Pinterest, and it helped a lot. And we had, I mean, the whole, everyone was on those stay-at-home orders, so all we did was go back and forth to Home Depot, back and forth to Home Depot. And so I want to sort of go through some of the pictures and some of the things that we got at Home Depot here, and show you some of the before pictures and after pictures. All right, so let's sort of get into this now a little bit. And so this is me, day one. Purchase property was sold to me and my beautiful wife. She took the picture, I held the sign, and we reversed it. And then we started our home ownership journey. It was move-in ready, like I said. And, we just hit the ground running. The first thing I realized, there was a lot of steps there. And I said, you know what? Let's just go ahead, and these stairs are going to get trashed just in and out of the house. So watch the YouTube video on the removal. And it wasn't necessarily simple, but it was take up the carpet, take up the underlayment, take up any nails, and then fill any holes. And then that was just either a wood filler or a gap filler. I tried to use wood filler on the side, but just due to the size of the holes and the amount I needed, I just didn't go with the gap filler. I ended up going with the wood filler. I ended up going with the gap filler. So the gap filler comes in the aerosol can with the attachment, and you sort of put it into the space that you want to fill, and it sprays like this semi-hard substance. And man, I mean, I still have nightmares about these steps. I mean, just the amount of nails that were in that underlayment is ridiculous. I mean, I'm still finding nails. There was an outside intercom that was from the system, but for one, it's got two of these screws that I don't know where to get out from. I probably could have one now, but I did end up making this look a lot more presentable, but I'm in the process of uh, getting rid of it. So the next thing was to sort of fill the spaces. So, like I said, a lot of the work was in the main area, and so it was okay to start filling the bedrooms. And so there's a couple of mattress companies that deliver, and so we just went ahead and called the mattresses over to have them delivered. And here it is. My wife helped me bring the mattresses in for the beds, and then we're gonna finish up the paint, and then fill up the gaps here on the steps. And I believe this is a time lapse video, and so this is what I was talking about when I said the gap filler. Very handy. It does pretty well insulation as well as far as cold. But man, I mean, I recommend when you use this, use it in one shot, and definitely temperature is a thing, because you see how it's going on kind of slow. I mean, it fills up and it empties very quick. And I was spraying a lot of it out just to try to get it to flow consistently, because once you stop it, it kind of backs up the nozzle. So recommend great stuff filler. Here's another video. And so here I did one way up and I did one way down. And I believe I let it sit for a day and before I came back and sort of smoothed it out. And then here I am in the downstairs. In the downstairs, I'm doing the floor. And so what I'm doing here is it was a vinyl on the floor. So I pulled up the strip and I put in, I cleaned, and then I was gonna put down peel and stick, a gray peel and stick. And then we had those browner cabinets that matched this sort of brown railing, and we wanted to totally change that. So we spray painted the cabinets white. And then I guess now looking at it, I could have left it the countertops white, but I used this countertop contact paper and made it a gray. So you have a gray floor, white cabinets, and a gray countertop. I thought, and a grayish carpet, and so it looked like a very solid, put together for the kitchen decorations. And then we slid out the refrigerator so that we would have room. And here's another angle. And then, I mean, the contact paper was pretty straightforward. Clean your surface, measure it, and then a stick. And it's been solid, meaning like it doesn't bubble. It wasn't like spaces where you could tell it was paper. It makes it look like a uniform piece of some sort of coriander or some sort of stone, some sort of lightweight stone. Now the corners, not gonna lie, the corners were tricky. I mean, this is a clip me trying to cut it around the stove or the sink, and yeah, it wasn't fun at all. But I believe I had to order extra roll or had an extra roll to fill in that area because, as you can say, just couldn't get it perfect. And this is me, I believe, doing the floor. I mean, hey, let this picture be a lesson to you guys. I mean, safety is important. Eye protection, knee protection. I mean, you put your knee down once, and I guarantee you, depending on how old you are, you could be in a bad mood all day. So there was also an area in the front, and when you first opened the door, that was a small landing area at the bottom of the steps. And so what I did there is I didn't use a peel and stick, but I did use that same walnut type of floorboards, and I cut, trimmed, and measured them to the space. And here, what you see is they're click lock, and what you see here is me just seeing if my measurements were on point. And as you can tell, one was off, so I had to go back in and cut it. And so here, if you look at this picture, this by I guess the bottom, you see the subfloor, and then here you see the updated floor. Now I did end up using the underlayment, but like I said, here I was just measuring it out. And that's us back in the kitchen again. In the kitchen. And so behind the kitchen area, we didn't really remove the stove. We just pulled it out. There was this peel and stick um, backing, and that's exactly what I did. I just, basically peeled and sticked it and cut it so that way it would fit and give it a nice color. And I mean, you can't even tell how good it looks just from the backsplash, the countertop, and the flooring. It all has these hints of gray. You sort of see it here and in the white. So very nice, low cost upgrade. These were the flooring that I used for the landing area. I took a picture of it to more remind myself, but it was 12 millimeter farmstead hickory laminate flooring. I only took one box because it was a very small area, and then I did the bathroom. Now I didn't necessarily reglaze this to the fullest extent, but I did use a spray. I mean, you can go to Home Depot and bathroom, and you'll see it'll say a bathroom spray. Now, this stuff is very, very toxic. And of course, at the height of the first wave of the pandemic, there was no proper masks. And I did have a ventilator mask, well, not a ventilator, but I did have a breathing mask that I did use. But there was better ones that I could have gotten, but I was protected. And then so the bathroom was pretty much good, meaning they had did something on the floor with the tiles. They had a better looking, vanity in there, and then so it just was some of the grout lines. So instead of regrouting it, I just sort of resprayed it white, and it came out fine. So I want to jump ahead a little bit here to see what else we have on some of my pictures because that was more so the bathroom. But I tell you one thing about when it comes to finding and doing things like this in your house, you find out what type of person you are. If you're a plumber person, if you're a carpentry person, you find out very quick what type of person you are. And I found out very quick I was not a plumbing person. Plumbing was, you know, an entirely different experience for me, and I was not interested in plumbing at all. And so here in this clip, I'm in the kitchen, and now this is a second kitchen. This is a multifamily unit, and what I'm doing here is now I'm going to apply the adhesive that goes underneath the peel and stick vinyl. And so I just pretty much paint roller into the adhesive, and I just was careful not to paint myself in the corner and not to use too much so that I wouldn't dry. You wanted it to be a little bit dry, but not too wet. Gave it time to air dry, and then start putting my peeling stick down. And then that was it. It was just peel stick, peel stick. And I started with a center line, and then I just offset from there. And I got this extra tool from Home Depot that it just allows me to roll it. I mean, they're not thicker pieces, but they do get brittle depending on how long they sit in your place. And so mine were a little bit more brittle. And so it made it a little bit harder to cut, but um, easy enough to mold or easy enough to do a slight trim. And then there was the kitchen. So I mean, it really took me 20 minutes to do the kitchen, and that was from the front of the kitchen to the center, and then this is the back half from the center kitchen to the bathroom, bedroom. And so as you can see, it was not a ton of space that I was covering. I just really had to cut, and I chose to go that direction so I could offset the tiles. I didn't want it to run uh, vertically. I wanted to run horizontally, so it ran straight, and I just had to make some minor cuts. I mean, the proper way would have been to take the washer and dryer out, but we just sort of filled up to the front of it. And then still more space to do. I had to do upstairs. This is more the same thing. I rolled out the adhesive. I found my center line, then I offset from there. And I do believe I went through about 3 boxes, and I do believe that it came to like $300 or something like that was the amount that I spent on the peel and stick floor. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better price to get somewhat of the desired effect. I feel like it would have just been too much if I had done high quality flooring throughout the place, because it already is a solid home. And I just, outside of the noise in the mid level, uh, with the underlayment there, that's the only thing. Not that when you walk it make noise, just meaning that if you're underneath that, you can hear heavy footsteps. And we did go out on the roof. We did update our spices for our guests. And then I did go get another type of tile. And what I was going to do there was going to do the bathroom, the second bathroom, but I ended up not to. So here's just a clip of me, the video where I was pre-cutting and measuring that inner hallway. So I had that hickory laminate, and I just marked with a pencil and cut in the back. Use my eye protection, and I think it's the other picture, and then I fitted it. So now I'm just going to, yeah, here it is. Here's where I fit. Let's see, click lock, click lock, click lock, click lock, click lock. Now that was just a little bit off, so I had to cut it a little bit. But then it was click lock, then it was click lock, click lock, click lock. I was blown away how that works. Now I've seen you see me use a rubber hammer, bang, 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 and then I did end up put a trim on there. Yes, I was a door trim, and I also put a trim around the wall and the stairs. I mean, so it was a great process. It was eye opening for me. I mean, it helped me learn so much, and it helps you build an emotional connection to your house, right? Like you're like, this is not just some place that uh I stay. This is my house. I built this house pretty much brick by brick almost, so that's the type of mentality I had with the place after we were all done. And in talking about all done, so here's a picture of the kitchen when it was all done. Like I said, we used a white sort of a paint spray for the refrigerator. We cleaned up the oven. I mean, some of the things were new, as you can see. We painted the cabinets white. Now we did not change the handles, but we did paint those white. We put peel and stick on the floor. We added contact paper on the cabinets over here. We did that backsplash, and this is the result of that kitchen area. It came out very, very nice. I'm very pleased with it. Very impressed with myself. Very happy that I took this, position to really get my hands, dirty and do something that was going to be some value. I mean, all in all, I would like to say I gave this one bedroom, one bath, a $20,000 makeover. I mean, it really, really updated it. I won't say to the 2000s, but I said this is a late 90s upgrade, just matching appliances at that part. This is a mid 90s upgrade. Next would be the 2000s. That would be the next thing. So here's the stairs. Like I said, there was those carpet and the underlayment. I painted white. I stained the top runners and stained the railing. And then, this is what the kitchen looked like with the first version of the kitchen, where we just did the flooring so the floor matched that the dark wood of the cabinets, and the vent hood was still white. And then this was our coffee bar area. Always had a coffee bar. This was our original cabinet area. This was our original game room. Some original shots of the living room with the carpet. Now, I actually like a carpet. I have carpet in my house. I feel like a room that people gather in. I feel like you should have the option to take your shoes off and put your feet in the carpet. And so that's the way I like that living room. But ultimately, it was just too much traffic. We are too busy. There's the bedroom. The bedroom still has a carpet in it, and it still looks pretty much the same. Just a couple extra things we put in there. And then there is a fan. And this upstairs bedroom pretty much looks the same, just flipped. The closet is flipped. This is the dining room table, amenities, coffee bar area. Yeah, so I want to see what other good pictures I can put up here to sort of break down uh, some of the other things that we got for the house. And then, I mean, that was pretty much the main thing, just put in the work to do those cosmetic repairs, which was the paint, the flooring, and the staining of the railings. I mean, the TVs were already hung, so I didn't necessarily have to hang the TVs again. There was meaning there was already screw holes, so I just put the screw holes in where they were previous were. And so this is pretty much a walkthrough of the house. Flooring came out really nice. I was really happy. I was extremely happy that some clash as far as the top of the stairs and the floor, but hey, can't have everything. We got the nice welcome when you first walk in. And look, this was the first version of the plant at the top of the steps. First version of the kitchen. First version of the dining room. We were really trying to go for that brick wall, backdrop, and then just that heavy plain white wall right there. Um, most of the furniture I got was from IKEA. I definitely got an IKEA credit card. Well, first off, let me say this. This is more than just a place to live. This is a business, and so I did form an LLC, and we are ENC Properties. And then from there, once I did the LLC, I did get an EIN, and from that EIN, I did apply for business credit cards. Now, being a new company and not even 90 days is sometimes it's tough to get large balances, and it was and it still is, but I decided to go small. So I got a, IKEA credit card in the company name. I got a Home Depot, and I got a Walmart card in the company name, and that's pretty much where I ordered everything from. I ordered the couches from Amazon. I used ordered a lot of other stuff from Walmart, and just come straight to the house, like, and I just put it in there. And so I use points. I rack up points. I get bonuses and benefits for purchasing, and and I expense it all. And this is the first version of Game Room, and so we were so excited to get started. And at this point, we were like a day away from our first guest, and we had the whole place ready. We just, from what Airbnb said, it was, people coming out of town to visit family, and that's exactly what we were expecting. And I'm, was very excited to think about, people sitting around a hot fire drinking cocoa, and that really wasn't what the case was. And it's wild to even think. I mean, the first guest, I mean, very nice communication, saying, coming into town, her husband, and possibly some family, and they threw a party, of course. And there was a lot of cleaning up to do, but we grew with the process. We grew with our listing, and it is great to sit back and watch these videos that we took of the property in its infancy stages. And this is the walkthrough. And like I said, we are a historical location in historical Inner Harbor. Now there are more modern, updated homes, but what you get from us is location. A lot of places, a lot of people that come into town are coming to town for the games, coming to town to go to the aquarium, and we are well within walking distance of all that. So check out the Lumbar Loft. Follow our Instagram page at Lumbar Loft, the Lumbar Loft. And then if you're on Airbnb and you're looking for Airbnb in Baltimore, come check out our property. I'm trying to think if there was any other parts I wanted to sort of show on here. Yeah, but I think the most part we did. So that was pretty much the day before our first guests. It was right. So let's see. So we got our first guest. I'll make this video long, and I'll probably go back and do a separate one that just breaks down our first guest. But we had our first guest, and so let's see. I want to sort of go into the. I want to go to the tree, but I'm talking about cigarettes, and cigarette smoke is very harsh, very coarse, and of course, very hard to get out. And so here we had some sort of carpet burns. I mean, there was just carpet burns. I mean, so I guess someone having it over the edge of the couch, and big parts of ashes falling out. And there's another thing that I realized, that some people were doing hookah. Like, so these were the hookah coals that were falling out, and really, really, damaging the carpet. And I'm like, if you get these huge hookah apparatuses, I need you to at least, you know, be able to not knock them over. And so yeah, so then I went upstairs, and I mean, it was just like a crime scene upstairs in the room. It looked like, like you see on a detective novel. There obviously been something going on in the bed, and then there was a trail, and then there was a bloody handprint. So this, as you can see, somebody was walking out the room and put their hand on the door frame, and so it's it's like thumb, first finger, middle finger, ring finger, pointer finger, baby, small finger, and going into the hallway, and then from the hallway they're trying to also turn the light switch, and then and they were missed it. They were close, but they missed it, and then they tried to hit the other light switch. So now there's a light switch for the lamp and there's a switch for the room. So they went here, and then you have to put your hand up and go here. And so that's what they're trying to hit. And I guess they were just missing it, and they couldn't find it, so they just went in the circle. They were just hitting all points, and then of course, more blood everywhere. And then this was the worst part. Someone, you know, guests, and I've heard about this, and we've all seen the jokes where people use the bathroom at night and it's in the wrong spot because they're sleepwalking. Well, this was one hell of a sleepwalker, let me tell you, because he missed the bathroom by a couple of feet and pissed in the plant. And it's funny. It's first of all, it's not funny, but it is funny to talk about because uh, what, this was the most expensive piss that guy ever took. And hey, look, like I say, if you got it like that, you got it like that. But it's only business, and he paid for it. So if he wanted to piss in the plant, that's on him. He sure as shit paid for it. And it was funny because uh I guess, I didn't there was things you learn about Airbnb as you go, and so I'm thinking that the people who are contacting you to book your Airbnb are the people that's staying, but that's not always the case. Sometimes people book it for other people, and that's exactly what happened. And so this woman booked the Airbnb for her daughter, and then they invited some boys over, and they had this bloody good time, and everybody was running around drunk and acting crazy, and it's a safety factor and all that, by all means. And but no one was hurt. I talked to called the woman, talked to her mom, and now she wasn't under the age of 18. She was just under the age of 21. And this was actually food, so no alarms. This was food. Someone spilled food on the pillow, so we had to clean that up. And then there was a big party. Now this was at this time when I'm first starting out with the Airbnb. There wasn't as much non-party rules as there became. I mean, now there's a zero tolerance on the no partying, but back then, it was pretty much, you know, they was allowing parties like game nights. Like I honestly thought it was for like game nights and stuff like that. And so we had the guests. They came in, and this is the sign they left behind. So it says here, it was a bachelorette party, and this is the sign they said: "Party rules. Whoever the fuck we say, whatever the fuck we say goes." Number two rule: finish your drink. No sober bitches here. Yes, these are girls. And the third one: limits are cool. Know yours. I don't know what that means. Keep that throwing up the fuck away, please. No throwing up. Okay. Throw out your empties. We all grown hoes. Remember rule four. Don't fucking forget it, and don't break ish. You break, you buy, and that's probably the most important. And then the last one: repeat, no sober. I mean, a little bit redundant, don't you think? But we get the message. I mean, but look at the craftsmanship in this sign. I mean, border, right? Uh, Visible and good organization, and also creative, right? Like, yeah, it took some time. There's a lot of work going into this hen party, right? This hen fest. But hey, if they like it, I love it. And you know what? They paid for it. I got paid for it. They didn't leave the place, and it's not that they destroyed the place. That's one thing I'm learning. It's mostly the trash, and so I do tell the guests upon checking out to take out their trash, because sometimes I can't get to the place right away, or it's a couple hours, and you just don't want that trash, sitting like that. And so they take the trash out, and be careful of their stains and red juices, and then also now makeup, because I mean, this in this picture here, I don't know if you can see it. We get those nice white sheets, and then these girls put their faces on them, and there's makeup everywhere, or they brush their hair in the bathroom, there's hair everywhere. Now, you can't avoid that, but now as a guy, it is very noticeable. I'm like, wow, like it's all makeup. Like I'm just like, wow, I just had no idea it was that much makeup, you know. So let's see what else do we have here. I mean, just the trash alone. I mean, these are 3 bags of trash. I know. I'm sure it's nothing compared to what some other people had, but at the time, this was pretty big, and I'm like, wow, 3 full bags of trash, and they didn't take these out either. And I mean, like I said, I thought that each rental was supposed to be like that, and it was just trash after trash. I'm like, every guest is. It was almost I needed an extra trash can, and there was just so much trash being thrown out. I'm like, it was ridiculous at one point. So let's see what else I got to show about some of my first things uh, in the Airbnb. And here, this was just a prime example of the hookah rule. Like I come in the apartment and I see this big chalky, dusty, you know, burn mark in the floor. I'm like, what are they? Somebody put a cigar out and I approached the guest about it, and she came clean and she said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, we had hookah and fell off the table." And that's how I started learning about the small coals. I think the size of the coals just depends on the difference and how fast they scoop it up. This probably they didn't scoop up. I mean, this looks like it was going to burn like a circle right through the floor. Um, but I was luckily with the peel and stick, you're able to cut it out and replace the two tiles, and then it's like brand new. And that's pretty much what I did. And then also the damage is so people walking and then their foot kicks the transition strips, and this was an example. I had to buy multiple transition strips to the point where I just at one point I stopped putting them there because they were just stepping on them and breaking them, not necessarily kicking and tripping on them. And then just paint peeling from all over the place. And so that was a big learning curve for me as far as just knowing what type of materials to get. So I just went with a metal transition slip, and did that to prevent um, them breaking and cracking like that. So then the next thing was we launched. I mean, we had a lot of guests, and I wanted to show this one guest where we had to do some serious. I had to go to small claims court, and I wanted to show. So I'll show that next. Yeah, I'll start here, and so I mean, this is pretty much the same guess. I mean, came into the house and was just a mess of what looked like all these little pieces of glitter. And we found one of these. I mean, they guess they went to Party City, dollar store, whatever, and they just loaded up on these confetti poppers. And so I'm guessing that part of her decoration was she just walked around and she was just popping the confetti in the living room, popping it in the dining room, and letting the confetti fall where it may, if you will. Horrible idea. I charged this lady $100 for this because to this day, to this I'm still cleaning up confetti. It's just the material you really can't pick up. It doesn't get sucked up in the vacuum. It's just horrible. I mean, just marks, on the couch, stains. We did Scotch guard the couch, and we used about 2 cans on the seating part. Of course, someone used our trash bag our laundry bag as a vomit bag, and I don't know what the hell happened here onto the wall. It looks like maybe someone fell or someone was pushed back, and instead of just letting their back brace the wall, they put their foot like they put their leg up and put their foot back, and their heel dug into the wall, possibly, or they could have just stayed up straight up kicked it. I'm not sure. Here we had a whole mess, and this is a kitchen countertop. I mean, there's just a lot of stains. It looks like they were burning incense here, and then this could be candle wax. But there was just chips. I mean, just a mess of chips everywhere. In the bedroom, next to the bed. It's just a mess of chips, and the steps really took a hard hit, and just trash everywhere on the countertops. Didn't even bother to wipe it down. Didn't even bother to vacuum. And then also they put a hole straight through. I mean, I guess it's someone's heel and just pop. Someone walked, stepped in front of the couch, pop with their strong foot and put a hole in, and then the hole was even bigger. I think it was a hole, and then I pulled it out, so that's why it's up. That's why it was up. But I mean, it was about the size of a quarter, and so this part of wood, I should put some filler here. It is a the subwood wood is chipped, as you can see, so it makes a hollow underneath. But it has since been filled and it has since been taken out, been replaced. The peel and stick has been replaced. Now I want to show some the actual first damage. Like I said, the damage where pretty much went to small claims court for the damage, and it was a very actually good guess. They communicated perfectly up front. They were basically saying, it was them, and they were coming down to the inner harbor for the weekend, and they were going to be very mindful and careful with my property. And so, just like every other guest, and so they approved their booking, and they rented the spot. And what you're going to see is a product of their misdeeds and misdirections. It happens often. And so here it is. Let's see. So yeah, just I mean, you walk into the house, it's just odor, and then as you can see, let me add it to the stream here. As you walk into the house, you just see an odor, and of course, it's probably from all the socks laying around. I mean, this is what we had the hamper for, so you can put those things in the hamper, and I guess they just didn't make it to the hamper. We had a mirror here, and it just even hurts for me to look at this. I mean, we have a mirror here. The mirror was just, I don't even know where the glass was. Sorry, I don't even know where the glass was. We had a mirror here, and like I said, I don't even know where the glass went. It's just as you can see, a frame. And it looks like, I mean, I guess this is what police see where they broke it. They tried to, they looked around to see what they could find, and I did have some super glue, so they busted out the little bit of super glue that I had left and decided to try to fix the glass, and they just quit. It didn't work. I mean, it looks like they made spaghetti on the table. Like they didn't use a bowl or didn't use a sink. They just threw the noodles after it was boiled, threw the noodles and the sauce on the table and just mixed it up with their bare hand, is what they look like. And then whatever was left, they just slid it over into the sink, and then they just washed the dishes on top of the noodles and food, and then they just threw stuff in there. I mean, that's what it looks like. I mean, it's horrible. It was just like, as soon as I came in there and I told you there was a smell, I was just like, and like I said, this was a small claims court case. I did take them to small claims court. And so that's a whole nother process. And maybe I'll do another video on that one day. The process is just Google searching whatever state you're in, township, and put in small claims court, and then just printing out a couple of sheets of that for quick access, and then being able to follow through with that threat if you go into your place and you see some damages that are above normal repair, that your home inspection won't cover, or which you can't fix yourself. And so it means you just drop off or mail in, and then you get your paperwork in the mail as far as your time and dates, and you just cover have your receipts ready and have your story together. I mean, there was a big trend with Airbnb where they would do damages like this and they would just delete their account. And I mean, and that's pretty much which led to Airbnb doing the air cover, because it was stuff like that. And so they had to have some insurance for their host, or why would you even, sign up if people are just breaking your house? And so this is the part I didn't like. So they put these towels in there. Now, I just learned that some people do this. Some people, I guess at a hotel, they say put the dirty towels on the floor. And so they took their shower, they used what they used. Now these were their own towels too. These weren't even my towels. These were their own towels. They used them and they were just like threw them into the middle. So I was already hesitant because I didn't recognize these towels. And so I thought that they threw them in there to clog up the basically the shower tube. So meaning that they let the shower tube run. They had 3 or 4 thick towels at the bottom and they let it fill up because underneath of that was where we saw all the water damage. And as you can see, now this is just a pet peeve. Why would you break the blinds? Like, just, I guess you're constantly like checking, but you're like swiping. Like, I walk up to a blind and I'll go like that just to see, as you can see, like how it goes over my eye. But they must have been like, breaking everything. They broke a knob for the countertops. And this is what I was referring to. So this area right here of the ceiling is in the dining room under the bathroom, and it's just a big bubble. There was water that was escaping from the piping to the ceiling in the drywall, and it made a big bubble, and it was very visible. And I didn't know what to do because it was, first time I experienced anything like that. I mean, and but I knew that it wasn't good to let it sit, and so I did drain it properly, and that's what this clip is. And so I just poked a couple holes in it, and I was gonna have to remove that drywall anyway. And so I just used a bucket, put down a tarp, drained it, and then I removed the drywall section and repaired it. But that was a pretty bad. And here goes some more pictures. That was the first time I had been through anything like that. I would say with that, it was at my first month. Yeah, it was my first month. And so after I took the drywall out, I had to cut that space open. So here I just, cut till it was dry. And I did have home insurance. And so I called my home insurance because apparently there was a reason why it was leaking, but it wasn't leaking before. And so I found out that the guests had removed the wax ring. I guess they needed it for their house. So they took the wax ring out, flushed the toilet 1,000 times, and flooded the sink, the shower. So, and this is a video of me cutting it to repair. And so I did have home inspectors come and they replaced the wax ring and they did replace it. And so I ordered these personal tools off Amazon. And then I just watched a couple of videos on what's the best way to replace drywall, especially overhead drywall. I was not happy about the location. I just tried to make it as straight as possible, as you can see here. I mean, the tool, the Dremel tool made it very easy, and I just cut all drywall that was wet and damp. And then I had pieces. I could have done, two pieces because as you see, it was two beams here. I could have done a piece there and a piece there, and that's what I was really cutting back for to see where that second beam was. And when I finally found it, then I knew I had my cut. And so let's see what this clip is. Oh, it's nothing. Let's see. And so yeah, so I ended up getting it fixed. Oh yeah, here it is. And so after I measured it, I had my big piece of drywall. Here it is. I had my big piece of drywall, and I was just doing my measurements. All right, here we got to go back to this one. All right, all right. I'm just waiting for this to load. What the heck? It's not loading. All right, here we go. All right, so it's still not loading. It's still not loading. All right. Well, anyway, I used the drywall, I cut it, and then I put it in there, put it up on the ceiling, and it worked out well. And I ended up now the finishing part to me was the hardest, right? Because I was trying to use the pre-made and I needed to use the mix. And so I should have just got the mix, and then that would have been a lot easier for me to do. And so I did end up getting the mix, getting someone to come out and do the mix. That's what I did. I did not do the mudding, and I had somebody else come out and do the mudding, and but I did do the drywall. And so there, as you can see, this is the piece I cut out, made it smooth, bam, fit like a glove, fit like a glove. And that was it. And then I had the guy come do the mudding. And it wasn't too big of a piece. It was a big piece, but it wasn't a too big of a piece. It was a big piece though. And then yeah, that was the first, major event I had in the house. I had to really, really get it to where it needed to be from those damages. And then the other part that I said was just some of the uniformity in the kitchen. Like I said, there was a black stove and a white ventilation hood. And so I wanted to make it, more uniform. And so that's what I'm doing here in this clip. I was using spray paint. And so I wanted to cover it up to make sure that it, didn't spray because I knew it was going to aerosol a lot. And so I did the proper prep work. And then once I did the proper prep work, I went into the proper paint work. Now, working with paint was a little bit new for me. And so I was kind of skeptical about the distances that they were saying you to do. But as you can see, I did use the hand attachment so that was more comfortable grip compared to just like this. Because this way is more of a splatter. And this way I was able to do more of an even sweeping motion for the coats, as you can see. And I went right ahead and changed that. And it was just drywall. Just went and changed that to a black ventilation hood, and now it's just more uniform. So now we have the black fridge, black stove, black vent hood, and then we have the black dishwasher, and that was good. And I was very, of course, proud of the work we did in modernizing this historical space. Let's see, what else did I do here? And then the next was, there was the solid wood cabinets, and so I wanted to get that. And so here in this clip, you'll see me do some of the taping for that. And so I used the like a construction paper from Home Depot, and with a masking tape. I didn't use frog tape or anything because it was just for the cost involved with the frog tape, and I knew I would need a lot of it. And so I just did the construction paper top and bottom, and then over the edges, and then into the floor, and then I put another layer on top of it. And I was being a little bit creative with this process. Like here was me roll out the paper carpet. Yeah, we getting it going. Here it is. Roll that beautiful paper footage. Zzz. And then that's what the final piece looked like. And I would say, look, that's pretty much covered, right? It's all bases covered for splash and splatter, or at least that's what I thought. I just did the floor, so as you can see, I didn't want nothing to get on that floor. And so I didn't know what I was gonna paint with a brush. I feel like that's a lot of poking, and we had removed the cabinets downstairs, and my wife was really adamant about that, and I listened to her and I removed the cabinets, but this time I was trying to get this done with. So I removed the knobs for the cabinets, but I purposely left um, the doors on there and bought an automatic paint gun. And listen, the whole kitchen was done in like less than 30 minutes. I mean, I just went in there with the paint gun and then just with the color, and let that be it. And this is me taking the knobs off. And of course, in painting, you should definitely do multiple layers. And I hit the paint with the cabinet. See, that was a cabinet interior satin cabinet and trim enamel. And I should have hit them with a base coat of white and then came over with the whatever color or black. But I just did over the wood because I still wanted it to have the textured look. And plus, I wasn't sure how the paint gun was going to work. And I mean, I liked it, but I would honestly just get a professional paint set now. I feel like I was playing painting with Legos. It worked good, but it didn't work that good. I would like to work with a professional. And so, I mean, I'm just going over again, trying to get every different angle. And as you can see, I should have opened the door and hit the back of the doors, but I didn't do that one. But next time, I definitely would. But it took seconds to cover that, and there was a lot of splashing, and that's what this picture will show you, that there's some splashing. But I just hit both sides, just bang, 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 boogie. I boogied in there, and then after the kitchen, I wanted to do something with this mammoth of a wall. It was just too much white in the living room. You know, it definitely should be some sort of accent. I decided to go with the ivy, and you know, now my next move is to make it a 3D. So now I would get a boxwood hedge, an actual like textured boxwood hedge, or like I've seen people do the moss. I thought that was actually cool, like the moss sign. And so maybe I'll do like a combination of boxwood and moss on top of this uh wallpaper. And this was pretty simple enough. Just clean the wall, and you just pretty much, it comes in, it's already a size. So you just, you know, piece, measure, and then cut. And so I just taped it a little bit over the top, and so that would fall straight. And then I just pulled it, and then I pulled the two parts together. So I pulled the top layer, and I pulled the paper, and then I stuck it as I pulled it down. And that's pretty much what I was explaining. Let's see what my time lapse looks like. And this was my first time working with wallpaper. I wasn't sure if it was going to wrinkle up. So I just started on the larger side first, I believe. And it was because it, you know, like I said, the top edges folded over. So I had to put the tape down. I think this is the one where I actually do it. You know, short guy need a ladder. Yeah, and cut. And then I put it over the thermostat, cut around, cut the bottom, cut around, cut the bottom, cut around, cut the bottom. And that was, I mean, that was pretty much it. And I just cut the top to make it straight because like I said, I folded it over the top, and I just cut the wood out. And that was all it was. But very, like I said, very happy with the process. Totally changed the look of the space. Definitely gave it a more updated look. Like I said, mid '90s. And don't get me wrong, I'm looking to go to the mid 2000s, but we just stopped. We stopped at the mid '90s right now. And let's see what other paint videos I got here. And so yeah, here is where I think I'm doing some of the trim, or I'm removing the paper. It worked really well around the dishwasher. Worked really well, and I mean, just looked really nice. I was really happy how it came out. And then I had to do, of course, the upper cabinets. And let's see what else. I think that was mostly it for So let me show you the finished, pretty much the finished product and what it looked like. Uh, and so this is what the finished product of the cabinets looked like. It came out nice, right? I mean, I think everybody, if they have a solid wood cabinet, should change the handles and change the paint. I mean, it really, really makes a big difference in the spaces. I was very happy with the way it came out. I believe that, I mean, go for some pop. I mean, go for what you like, of course, but remember these colors help make this room brighter. Go for some feng shui on your place. And so now, I mean, so that was pretty much the first and second upgrades of the place. And so now I kind of want to show the last upgrades, which was, um, you know, here on the Airbnb website. So let me see. Let me go to Airbnb page. And here we go. This is it. This is the fully decorated space. I mean, this is a active listing. I mean, this was the that same space you saw me do. We got some artificial plants, and I just put this here for the picture, but it goes over by the bar. We have a table there with the chairs, and we have the neon sign. We fully updid the living room floor in there after we did the floor, and we added, I mean, just a lot of focal points, eh, television. We came up with some marketing materials. We added to our house amenities, and we just followed the flow of the path of the place, and really wanted to be very accommodating. So, hello, welcome, let you know where you're at. This is the Lumbar Loft. Thank you for your business, and really just inspire them the moment they come in. So this is it. This is, I mean, and like I said, it's a historical house in a historical side of Baltimore, and a historical area in the Inner Harbor. And there are other opportunities if you're looking for, but my place is very spacious and holds about 10 people. So you and your whole family can come and stay, have enough room to spread out, and be able in walking distance to anything that you might want to do downtown or otherwhere. So thank you guys for checking out this video. I wanted to just talk about my property and what went into getting it up to date, what went to getting it ready for Airbnb. It is a three-bedroom loft, perfectly located minutes from downtown Inner Harbor of the historic Lombard area. Be enthralled with the exposed brick walls and experience the decadence of royal living in this large dwelling. This space is perfect for work trips, couples retreats, or staycations. And listen, man, I appreciate everybody who's checked out the page. I appreciate everyone who's stayed at the house. It's great business, and I'm proud to be in this business. Thank you, Airbnb, for hosting and making me a super host. And yeah, I mean, please like and subscribe. I'm just doing videos to show my journey, and sort of let everybody know what we got going on here in Maryland. And if you got any questions or comments, let me know. Hit me up at the Lumbar Loft on Instagram. But until the next time, take care, you guys.